Hi, hello, Bananarama to you all. How are you guys doing? I hope your end of the week was just smooth sailing and your weekend is shaping up to be fantastic. Now, I wanted to ask you if you guys saw what happened on Twitter over the past few days, because it got quite heated, and I want to talk to you about that. But before I do, would you give me your honest opinion? Would you tell me which one of these two girls is more attractive? The woman on the left is Sydney Sweeney. The woman on the right is the current Miss Universe. Now, if you're a man, you probably chose Sydney Sweeney over here, and it wasn't even a contest for you. But if you're a woman, you chose this one, and you can't even fathom how a man could pick Sydney Sweeney over her. You see, that's what happened on Twitter this weekend. People just noticed that it seems like men and women cannot agree on what makes a woman beautiful. And I want to talk to you about that and explain why that happens today. So let's get on to it. Now, before you come for me and tell me that this is just a one-off thing, like an freak optical illusion, like is the dress white, is the dress blue type of thing from 2006? No, okay? I have encountered this phenomenon many times online. What women think is attractive in women has nothing to do with what men actually find attractive. In fact, the Sydney Sweeney versus Miss Universe tweet was in response to another tweet somebody else made comparing two women, you see? Someone else had posted this before. This right here is a comparison between 1974 Miss Universe and today's Miss Universe. Now, in the comments of this tweet, it was very interesting because in the comments, men thought 1974 Miss Universe was way prettier than today's Miss Universe. In fact, this girl right here gives them a sort of uncanny valley feeling. Many of them are comparing her to AI slop. This is what you get when you let a compression algorithm loop on its own output for a long time. I mean, he's calling her AI slop. Another one says, the left is the same type of human as my wife. Almost as pretty. Aw. The right one is an alien. Someone says, whatever happened between those years is sad. And another one says, the left is infinitely more beautiful by being and looking real. How are people not seeing this? But then comes the woman, and here's the woman that's super puzzled in the comments of this photo. She says, the left is like the second prettiest girl in your high school. And the right one is an East German Olympian, except instead of steroids, she's taking beauty drugs or something. She cannot understand how people don't see what she sees, which is that the new Miss Universe is way prettier, according to her standards. And this is what the Sydney Sweeney versus Miss Universe was trying to correct. Let me show you. It says, the original poster chose a hyper-edited photo so that Miss Universe looked like every other Insta model. Let's try this again. Shall we? Let's try this again. Men, based on these pictures solely, which woman do you find more objectively attractive? Girl next door Sydney Sweeney or unattainable Miss Universe? I mean, she thought she had figured this out. She thought she had the answer to this thing. It was not that 1974 Miss Universe was prettier. It's just that they chose a bad picture with too much makeup. Let's try it again. It was just a matter of finding a candid photo. So let me tell you, she gets decimated in the comments. Like, the men are not having it. Let's read them. So Mark says, Sweeney wins. Even this contest, the woman on the right still reeks of plastic surgery. Really? Yes, Sweeney has an honesty to her appearance, while Universe strikes me as someone who would talk about the latest fashion trends. Sydney Sweeney's prettier. Wait, really? There's no way you think men would actually pick right. Wait, why? She looks natural in that picture. Sweeney easily. I mean, the comments is just it's just endless. It's endless men saying that they would pick Sydney Sweeney and women getting mad about it. Like this one. She still doesn't believe it. She's like, okay, not only did we need a candid picture, let's zoom in, okay? Men are getting distracted by Sydney Sweeney's honkers. And men are like, nope, still Sweeney. So I wanted to make this video to figure out why females and males just cannot agree on this. Why is there such a wide gap between what women think is attractive and what men actually find attractive in women? Now, let's begin by asking ourselves a very honest question. Like, why do different people find different things attractive? And there is kind of like a common sense answer to that question, which is beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? We look at things and they strike us differently. Some people find one thing beautiful and other people find other things beautiful. But you know what? I think that explanation falls short. It doesn't really explain what's happening here. Because if beauty truly is subjective, then each person would have a completely different set of attributes that they find attractive. It makes no sense that men would cluster around the same traits and women would cluster around the same traits themselves. It's just two distinct blocks of people finding things attractive that are quite different from one another. So it's not just beauty is in the eye of the beholder. What is it then? I guess one way we could tackle this question would be to reach a professional. Like, we could go to a university and contact a professor and ask him about this. But I think I have a pretty clear idea. Like, I have a very good high fidelity model of what that interaction would be like if we actually talk to a professor. I think I can predict what he would say. And I think he would say something like, well, Yael, beauty standards are arbitrary. They have changed so much over time in history that it's very difficult to argue that the beauty standard is objective. It seems to me that it's completely arbitrary. But it is also not subjective. The beauty standard is not something that each individual person can set. It's actually more of a social construct. It's a story that the community tells each of its members. We build it together and we enforce it together, right? And the professor, you would find yourself like nodding to this, and the professor would like bring the point home by coming up with some freak example from history, like, I don't know, like, did you know having black teeth was considered beautiful in Japan for about 1,000 years? Women will blacken their teeth with this iron thing. And he would show you pictures if he has them, or just like let the anecdote be an anecdote. And, sure, it was a sign of beauty and health and wealth in Japan to blacken your teeth for a very long time. In many parts of Asia, actually, they did this. And they even forbade, like, the plebe from using this product. But, I guess you could say that what we consider beautiful in women has changed a lot throughout the years. I mean, geographically and across time. But this also doesn't completely explain why there is a gap between what men and women find beautiful. Because if it's true that beauty standards are set by the community, then men and women from the same community would agree on what makes a woman beautiful, right? We grew up together. There shouldn't be such a massive difference here. So what gives? here's where things get trickier, because I know many people are going to say, well, even though men and women grow up in the same community, we are not brought up with the same rules. You see, this is the patriarchy. Boys are socialized to become dominant, to seek control, and to enforce the system that is tailored to their wants and their needs. And girls, on the other hand, are brought up to and socialized to be, sweet, agreeable, to be of service, to cater to these men. So that is why our ideas of what is beautiful are so wildly different. But if you stop for a minute to think about this, it just makes absolutely no sense. In fact, it's basically more ammunition for the other side of the debate. Because if that was the case, then wouldn't men be socialized to want women to be dependent on them so that they can be available to cater to them? Wouldn't they want maximal fertility in women? And wouldn't women be brought up to find the same thing desirable? Wouldn't women want to be as fertile as possible? It makes no sense that women would be brought up to find being athletic, being very thin, being independent and empowered as signs of attractiveness. It makes no sense under the patriarchy, right? So I wonder if the answer to our question doesn't lie in objective reality, since both patriarchy and beauty standards as a social construct is not giving us the answer. Isn't the answer maybe in the objective, real truth? Okay, now let me show you something. I am about to spill the beans here, but what I am about to show you is archaeological findings, figurines of how different cultures depicted their own love goddesses, akin to Aphrodite or Venus, right? And across cultures, across languages, across continents, and across the ages, from Anatolia to ancient China, from Mesoamerica to Siberia, love goddesses have always been depicted the exact same way. And we continue to represent peak female beauty the exact same way too. If we take a look at what we do when we draw anime or video games, or even the dreams men come up with now that we have AI, they are all a perfect reproduction of this ancient archetype of the love goddess. And the things that all these figurines have in common is that they have an overabundance of feminine fertility indicators: a wide waist, a wide hips, narrow waist, large breasts, and also neoteny in the face, like baby-like features, because female fertility is very linked to youth. So naturally, things that indicate a youthful appearance are also highly attractive in women. And, you could argue, well, if this was objective, then wouldn't women identify with this too? And you know what? Women do, to some extent. When women are alone, they identify with this, because these are the covers of famous romantic novels. This is a genre aimed at women. Do you see something familiar here? It's the same archetype once more. So if we had to sum up what the ideal objective beauty standard would be, what would we say? Well, it basically has three components. The first one is a curvy body, waist to hip ratio. This indicates fertility. Second is neoteny in the face, a baby-like features in the face. And the third component is much more subtle. It's a warm and prey-like personality. Oh, yeah. The first two components are pretty self-explanatory, right? It's peak female attractiveness because it makes a woman physically fertile. But the third one is a personality component. You see, personality matters. The third component is what killed Miss Universe in front of Sydney Sweeney, by the way. It wasn't just that she was much more slender, but especially it is the fact that she lacked the warm and prey-like attributes that someone like Sydney Sweeney has in spades. The ideal woman has a true sense of warmth and also kind of a hint of innocence in her eyes, even a little bit of fear. Men don't like feline, upturned, snatched eyes that women tend to find so exotic and so attractive. That type of eye shape that women call huntress looks predatory in a woman to men. They much prefer a wide-eyed gaze than a snatched look. What they really want is a wide-eyed girl with a simple smile that looks honest and simple and willing and easygoing. And Sydney Sweeney has all of those attributes. Now, if you look at all of these attributes, and you compare them to what women find attractive, you start to realize something very odd. You see, not only is there a gap between what men like and what women like, but it's actually the opposite of one another. How can we explain this? This is even more puzzling than we thought. See, the things women find attractive in other women are not just different from what men find attractive. They're the complete opposite. Instead of a curvy body, women like slimness. Instead of neoteny in the face, women like snatched looks. They like an angular face with hard edges, to the point where they sometimes get this procedure called a buccal fat removal that removes all the fat from their cheeks, rendering them hollow and much more angular, and of course, much older looking. And in terms of personality, they also want the opposite. Women like a baddie. They want a woman who knows what she wants and is not afraid to go and get it. She's empowered, she's independent, she goes to the gym and lifts a bunch of weight, and she has tattoos, she travels the world, just the complete opposite. So how is this possible? Are women blind? Do they not know what men find attractive? I mean, this isn't even blindness, because if you were blind, you wouldn't choose exactly the opposite. This means that you see what men want and you actually want to subvert it and go the opposite way, do the exact opposite of what is expected. So, what is going on? Right, I don't think half of the internet is ready for this conversation. So if you're extremely sensitive, if you're someone who woke up feeling not so great about their own looks today, and if you don't want to be triggered, this will be your one warning to close my video, all right? Just go away. Because if you stay, then that means you want to watch this, okay? Okay. So what we're seeing here, what's happening is beauty is basically a form of currency. I know it sounds kind of crazy to wrap your head around this, but before there was cash, before there were banks and interest and debt and taxes, there was beauty. And I want you to picture beauty like a magnet. It is a magnet that attracts people's attention and desire, because beauty is in itself desirable. It's pleasurable. Being near beauty offers people satisfaction. So those who possess beauty, if you're beautiful, then it's like being in control of the switch. You're the person who allows other people to come close to this beauty that you have, or forbidding them from getting near it. And the person who is on the receiving end of the attraction forces of this magnet, they feel desire being stirred within them, and they understand that there is a differential. There is something beautiful that they desire, but the beautiful thing does not necessarily desire them back. So to bridge that gap, they offer things to the object that they find beautiful. They offer them resources, protection, shelter, opportunities, hoping that by giving these gifts, the beautiful person is going to allow them to get near them, you see. That is why beauty is women's bargaining chip. It is women's currency. And it is a competition. You are competing against all the other women for the attention and the desire of men. It is not an infinite resource, you see. There's not an infinite amount of attention, resources to spread around. So this is basically a race in which the most beautiful woman wins. And it is important to win because getting the attention of men, getting potential mates, is what's going to secure resources for you and for your children. So you win if you have more beauty than others. So what you want to do is you want to maximize your own beauty while minimizing everybody else. You know, everybody else's beauty must be minimized. And this is exactly why men will reward women's fertility indicators being displayed, but women will punish it. Women will punish you if you show your attractiveness in a way that is too forward, that is too overt. The less competition, the better, right? So if we can punish other women for being beautiful or attractive, then that's going to make the competition less fierce. That's going to give me better chances at winning. And what happens here is weak women, women who do not feel that they're attractive enough anyway, okay, will bow their heads and accept the pact. They're going to forego their own attractiveness in order to avoid the punishment from the other women and to climb the social ranks within the female group. And this is precisely what creates this parallel beauty standard. The female beauty standard is not a beauty standard at all. You see, the only purpose of the female beauty standard is to subvert the fertility indicators, is to make you less attractive so that you do not communicate that you're a threat, a competition to the other women around you. So by accepting this new standard, you're neutering yourself. You are rewarded with social recognition, with social status among women. White teeth are an indication of health. Let's blacken them. This is beautiful. Black teeth, beautiful. Among women, beautiful, precious. This is an indication of true class among us, not among men. Among us, precisely because it is not attractive to men. But you know, this is not the end of the story. This is a very good explanation of the mechanics at play, but it doesn't really translate to what most women feel inside because, you know, most women are completely oblivious of this mechanic. They don't know that this is happening. They're not trying to enforce anything, and they're also not blindly following other people's orders. They feel it in their bones, like they truly believe that they consider beautiful the things that they find attractive. They think it is a personal choice. So, how does that happen? So, women don't have the natural drive to impregnate other women, obviously. So, they're blind to female fertility indicators. They don't understand what makes them attractive or not. If they understood the fertility indicators, they would be men, not women. So because they don't have this natural instinct, they have to learn it from other people. They have to learn what is attractive and what is not from the environment. And the problem is, when the environment repeats a lie over and over and over again, guess what? They get conditioned. They accept it as the truth because they cannot discern for themselves. They simply come to believe it. And it's very important to understand that the female beauty standard is not a lie. It is true within the female community, I suppose. I mean, if you adopt this standard, then it'll make you more popular among the girls. The only problem, though, is that it requires you to sacrifice your own attractiveness. And women who have been conditioned to accept this standard as real don't know the difference. So who is benefiting from this lie? Who is pushing the lie? Well, beauty is so important that almost everybody has a reason to lie about it. Take women, for example. So we said most women don't really understand that this is going on. But those who do, those who understand what's happening, they want to make their competition trip. Why would they tell them the truth? They're not going to tell you the truth. In fact, they're going to give you the worst advice. They're going to be like, you know what would look great on you? A pixie cut. Why don't you just chop all of your head off? That will make you so stylish. But brands are also very interested in lying to you, because if you knew that what makes you beautiful is things that you cannot alter, like how wide your hips are or how narrow your waist is, or that being warm and having a smile and being honest is highly valued by men, they could not sell shadow palettes to you, could they? So instead of telling you this, instead of telling you smile more, look more honest, they give you Jeffree Star. They give you Jeffree Star and a bunch of men applying makeup to their faces like they're actually drag queens. And this is who you're learning to do your makeup from, okay? And this way, they can sell you so many shadow palettes. So they are complicit too. And then we have designers in the fashion industry. These men who design clothes, who do all of the fashion weeks, they are homosexuals. They're gay men. The majority of them are. And so, they are also oblivious to fertility indicators. They have no drive to fertilize you. But also, B, why would they want more competition? For them, it makes you much more attractive if you look like a teenage boy than if you look like a woman. This is why they hire models who look like teenage boys. And they will lie day and night. They'll tell you, no, we choose the models like this because they're hangers. The clothes that we design look better if they're hanging from a body rather than, being distorted by the curves of a woman. And I'm going to ask you now, if you're a woman, to be honest with yourself, to see through these lies. If you're designing clothing that looks better in a hanger than in a female figure, then maybe you're not designing clothes with the female figure in mind, right? How are these clothes going to flatter you? But this ends up enforcing this standard of the ideal female body being very slim and athletic, like a teenage boy, okay? And finally, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this, but men also push the lie too, okay? Weak men who don't think that they can get the type of woman that they're attracted to lie to you all the time. Some of them lie to you to flatter you. Some of them don't want to get into trouble, so they just want you to be happy. They lie to you about the way you look. But other men, if they cannot get what they desire, they better desire what they can get, okay? They go around telling the women that they think will have a shot of being attracted to them that what they have is precisely what they are attracted to. They feel like this way they have better chances of, of sticking it in. They have better chances. Because if they have to shoot for the desirable ones, they're not going to make it. So they may as well tell you that you're the most beautiful woman they have ever seen. And what about that thing that many people say, like, well, classy men don't like curvy women. They like slender women. Well, that is as absurd as if you said that wealthy women liked small penises, okay? This is just... This is just a lie, okay? What happens here is some men are quite savvy and they understand that they need to pick a partner that isn't just beautiful, but that has status in female society, okay? Because in society, women hold a lot of power. And if you choose a mate based solely on what you desire, she may be a social blunder for you in polite society, okay? So some men will rather have a midwife that conforms to the female beauty standard and will help them climb society's ranks than a bombshell that is going to hinder them. It's going to make every woman in their circle jealous and uncomfortable, and this could be very inconvenient for them. So they choose to forego some of their desires in order to climb higher, okay? Take the example of Jeff Bezos, okay? He's a man he doesn't owe anybody anything, and he doesn't care because he has nothing to gain by appealing to anyone else. And he went ahead and he got the wife that he was the most attracted to, okay? The one he found desirable. Everybody else thinks that he's crazy for being with her, but he doesn't care because it's what he finds desirable. You understand? He can afford it, but not every man can. Not every man is Jeff Bezos. So how do we know the truth? How can we be grounded in actual reality then? Okay, so the truth about the female beauty standard is that there's actually two standards, and they are complete polar opposites from one another, meaning that the things that will make you attractive to men are the very same things that women are going to punish you for. Understand this fundamental factor. Now, if you want to know what men find attractive, don't ask them. They're going to lie to you. Don't see what the media says. Don't ask other women, okay? Be smart. What you have to do is you need to see what men look for when they think nobody's looking. Look at what men look for when they're looking for porn. Look at the type of female figures they request from AI. That is what men find attractive for real, okay? And I am not saying that you have to conform to any standard, okay? You have to conform to one or to the other. I mean, the best women know how to play both registers. They know how to straddle them. They find out how they can maximize their own attractiveness with possible deniability so they don't trigger the women. This is very hard to nail, okay? It's not easy. And if you know how to do this, kudos to you. You have more than half the battle won here. But, it's important to understand that when people talk about beauty standards, they often pretend like this is a conversation about personal taste, but it's not, okay? Beauty is about control. It is about access to resources, to protection, to opportunities, and ultimately to a sense of belonging to your peer group, okay? So the female beauty standard is what keeps society harmonious. And if you completely ignore it, then you're not going to find that people welcome you so much. But the male beauty standard is what keeps evolution running and what's going to secure you a partner for life. So don't ignore that one either. You ignore it at your own peril, okay? Both standards are just games, okay? That's the part that it's important that you understand. The most important thing, like if you want to win, is to realize that you're playing to begin with. You need to understand what the rules of the games are, and that is what I was trying to do with this video. I was trying to explain to you that This is a game. Look, here's the board. Here's the rules. Here's how you play it. Now play in any way that makes you happy. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, I like to decode these type of things. I like to understand how society works. And I try to post videos about these type of things almost daily. I don't always succeed, but I try. So if you found this video interesting or engaging, or if you learned something new, then do subscribe. I love to see my number of subscribers growing. But also, sometimes the YouTube algorithm doesn't show you when someone you follow updates with a new video. So if you really want to know when I post something new, you can go here. You can go here and you can enter your email in the form, and I'll add you manually to my emails list. And whenever I post something new, I'll shoot you an email telling you that, hey, I posted about this, here's the link. And then you can choose whether or not you want to watch it instead of having YouTube's algorithm choose for you. So yeah, I hope that you had a good time, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll see you on the next one. Mwah!
I want to join on the fun. I want to be part of your beautiful people club.